what happens when the home that defines your success starts holding your future hostage? After being a realtor for over 25 years, I see often that the barrier to moving isn't the market or am I going to outlive my equity? No, it's not that. It's the scariest question in real estate, which is who are you without the big house? So today we're talking about choosing your future over your floor plan. And Carolina, my wonderful partner, Dr. Carolina Billings, my co-host, tell me, because you are in the middle of this process right now of going from the family home to hopefully something more streamlined. What are you thinking about identity wise? Is that on your mind about who are you without this house
Yeah.
now?
And actually, identity for me is being a catalyst. This is a catapult. Get out of here. More so than holding back, right? And actually, sorry, it's a longer answer.
Oh, I love it.
If in my book, actually, Party of One, I specifically write about the bridge between signal and choice, and how hanging on to that double income suburban life is signaling, is really, I'm not going to go as far as to say it's virtual signaling, but it's signaling nonetheless, right? It's the status, it's the lifestyle, is, meanwhile you is conspicuous waste, right? Like you get one person living in, I don't know how you define a big home, whether that's a 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 10,000 square feet, right? But still is clearly not a environmentally sound, and b practical.
Well, and you make a good point. Well, first of all, it's really not size, is it? Like it comes down to usage in terms of your square footage. And I think we talked about this before. If you were to think about a heat map on top of your home, where are you actually living in your home? And I know, many folks, of course, as we're empty nesters and older, that we're not using very much of our homes typically, right? So you bring up a very interesting point. You're talking about it being a catapult for you, and I know that for many people, that it's that fear of losing that identity that they've been for decades, right? Like if you've been in your house for 30 years or whatever, and you're thinking about right sizing into something smaller, more streamlined, more maintenance free, and you start to think about, I won't have a formal dining room anymore. And
When
that
was the
dining
last
room,
time you used it?
well, when was the last time you used it? But that dining room was the center of your family gatherings, right? Like it really held a space that everyone used. And then if you take it a step further, when it comes to, okay, so that's my dining room space, which represents where my family shared many meals and many good times. What about even me, the actor in the story, where I was the host and everyone, I had all the big dinners here. I hosted the summer barbecues in my backyard. Who am I if I pass that torch to my son or my daughter or a friend? Am I losing that status or that visibility?
Goodness, I just see it as a lot of work. I don't know if that's necessarily status, but it's definitely identity, right? And you and I have touched on identity before, and so have our colleagues in our other sister podcasts. And I think with identity is such a mind um, kaleidoscope, for lack of a nastier word.
Well, that's an
Because,
interesting word. Okay.
well, yeah, because it's like, what are you really hanging on to, right? Like, if you think from a scientific perspective, right? Our cells in our body change fully every 7 to 10 years. So, are you technically the person that you were 10 years ago? if your body's different, right? If every cell in your body is different, are you still you, right? Or are you a new version of you? But you're hanging on to the past, right? Like the what you identify with. And if we take it to a philosophical point, which is more my hobby and cup of tea, there's an exercise, a mental exercise called the ship of Theseus. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but the ship of Theseus states that imagine you have a ship of Theseus that you begin to take the planks apart until the full ship is completely replaced. Is that still the ship of Theseus? Right? And then if you take the planks and you rebuild the ship somewhere else fully, which one is the real ship?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So identity is a funny thing. And I'm looking forward to see where you take us with the house as a representation of good times, bad times, the past, present,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Well, and that's interesting because you're right. It's such a mind game, isn't it?
It
Is
is.
it's it's what we hold in here. And you know, and I find fear plays a lot into this. And a lot of people believe that when you downsize, or, you know, I prefer the term right size, that you're shrinking your identity. And in actual, which is, you know, kind of scary, right? Because you know, as we get older, it's like, well, you know, there's loss. You know, I'm no longer, I no longer have a career. I no longer this. I'm no longer, you know, the mom at the soccer field, whatever. So those fragments start to fall away. Hopefully, though, we're shifting into replacing those fragments with finally focusing on, oh gosh, how can I fulfill my life now? So this shrinking of identity is something that you know, letting that house go, which we've talked about before, is the museum of our life. You know, but it's which is fine. Everything in my life is a museum representing me, but is it my life today or my life from 1994? Right. So that's something that I think people really need to consider. And if I can start to let go some of the relics, you know, and start focusing on what is the Renee that I've been holding back on letting blossom, you know, come out of the closet, so to speak, that takes some real courage to let that person, first of all, to look back in the closet and say, what have I always wanted to be, but never allowed myself the time to explore that, and then just having the courage to put everything aside to take a peek and start letting the closet door swing open and the sunlight flood in.
Well, you know, and there's also the practicality of it, because there's one thing. We happen to be in the GTA, in the Greater Toronto area, so we're speaking of that perspective, right? But the reality is that there's entire communities, especially where we are in historical, like Northeast, that there's roads that don't have sidewalks at all. Like, never mind on one side. There's just entire communities that they just assume everyone drives or they walk on the road, right? So when you're thinking of right sizing, it's not just about the size, because you could be moving from, you know, a home like your Brady Bunch type home that, you know, hasn't been ready, still has the shag carpet and the groovy, you know, appliances. And you build so much equity, you build your nest egg, that you're able to move into quite a lofty, quite a poshy, either you know, if you're you know, boomer, or if you're in your latter years, into a poshy community that is just radiant and full of activity and full of camaraderie. And, you know, because how often do your kids visit? Call your mom, everybody. Anyways, you know, so to me, I don't equate it with big to small. is the right size. It's not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily, because when you say downsizing, yes, there is an implied lowering of your standards, but when you're saying right sizing, to me is the right thing to do. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that you're able to, especially if you're in the to me, the 55 to 75 should come with like a doctor's warning, like warning, you're entering the prime of your life. This is the last, young, like youth, mature youth income. You still a purchasing power. You still, cognitively there. Like, do not spend it, dusting, like, unless you're into that, like, seriously, right? There's so many better things to do. But my question really is, if you're moving, why are you moving? And if you're staying, why are you staying?
Mm.
Because just
Right.
because you're sitting alone, rocking the rocking chair, and you're like happier than a pig in poop, then who are we to say you need to downsize, you need to right size?
Absolutely. And you're right. Moving isn't always the answer. Sometimes it's just creating within the four walls you're in. Maybe your community is still supporting you, and your home is you're managing quite well. There isn't wasted space, and so yeah, perhaps it's just making your home more clutter free. That's a whole
Or
other
adjusting
conversation.
it so that it matches. Like you were saying, there's companies that are called growing all in place or something like that, that they'll come and retrofit your home so that you're
Yeah.
able to have greater mobility and greater independence, right?
Yes. The concept is called aging in place,
Oh,
and
aging in place, sorry.
you were close, but there are lots of, or a contractor who's worth his weight in salt. Is that saying? Anyway, can
Yeah,
help
I
with
think so.
universal design, and there are lots of designers that can help plan that.
Freshen up. So my concern is, and again, I'm speaking purely, I'm projecting my anxiety and neurosis onto the world, right? To me, it feels, and it was such a cocoon moment, when I found myself an empty nester, and in my case by choice, because I live by one ethos in my life, which is I choose,
Mm.
period, right? Full sentence, my choice. So when I found myself just living in, like, it's an adorable home, and I struggle with it because it's being curated, it's historical, it's got so much character, right?
Mhm.
But although I love living alone, right? Because and it's got, not, I wouldn't say I'm lonely. I've been lonelier in relationships than I am on my own. Um, I re The logical part of me sees the square peg in the round hole.
Mm.
It's just the suburbs are really not. They're really not fit for a certain age group. It's just not safe. Especially again, given the context of our GTA, right? Like, and I had a big aha moment with your husband, who's the broker of the property. He should probably send me a therapy bill from it, because we were having a talk about where we at and the context, because is real estate, right? So it's like, what's the market doing, and blah 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 blah. And I was saying to him, like, I'm okay playing the long game, like, it's not like I have to move.
Mhm.
And then I found myself immediately saying, I want to move,
Mm.
but I don't want it bad enough that I freak myself out.
Mhm.
Because if I want, you know what I mean? Like, I still have to be grateful and happy. Like, listen, if I'm going to wait for my next chapter, this is not exactly a nasty place to sit and wait, right?
Absolutely, especially with your stunning backyard.
But I said to John, I said, and I heard myself say it for the first time, it's like, I just don't want to spend another winter here.
And
And
that, yes.
And that, in the minute I said it, yes to the, you know, culture in you know, in the GTA, yes to more single professional, yes to all of it, but the core of it was that I just don't want to battle the winter in a home by myself, because I think winter's winning.
And that's fair, and you know that, and that's a whole season, right?
It was just this like moment.
And for other people, there's that, and then on top of that, there's how much time, our greatest asset, by the way, which we really take, I think, more seriously as we're 55 plus. How much time is spent on a Saturday? You know, making sure the grass cutting crew outside your door is doing a good job, or you're arguing with your furnace that's, you know, older than your children, or you're praying you know, we just went through a very wet spring and praying that, you know, there isn't a leak in the basement because there's so much.
We're still trying to exit the winter.
Mother Nature.
Here's the thing, for anybody, because we have friends all over the world, and love you all, because I get a kick out of all the comments that come from like all over the world. I have to tell you one thing, for anybody thinking of moving to Canada, especially to a home, we are obsessed with the ground. We massage the ground. It's like, you know, in the spring, we're raking, you know, whatever happened in the winter. In the summer, we're mowing the lawn. In the fall, we're raking the leaves. In the winter, we're shoveling the, like, I'm always looking at the floor, at the ground, right? Like, it's this constant, in my opinion, unless you truly, genuinely align with it as a lifestyle, you're either are prepared to do a lot of work, or you have the budget to, you know, sustain the economy of the town or city you live in, right? And then it's that proverbial question: who are you working for, right? Because if all you're doing is maintaining a crew, then seriously, you can be
and is your house serving you, or are you serving your home? You know, at this point, right?
Yes.
And you brought up a really good point, that is something to consider. Now, you remind me of the show Green Acres. Do you remember that show? Do you remember that show, right?
I've been called that before.
What was her name? Eva Gabor or Jaja Gabor?
Gabor, darling. Yes.
Okay. You are a little bit out of your element in that. So Carolina has, as she just confessed, is not you're not a one that likes to cook, or
I'm an indoor girl.
You're an indoor girl. You're not a gardener.
In the kitchen.
And it's so hilarious because he was captivated by the house that she's currently in, which is, if you walk past it, it is so charming. In the summertime, spring, summer, and fall, it is surrounded by these gorgeous hydrangeas, which she has to take care of. Well, actually, they're pretty self-sustaining. I have to say, I have them myself, and they're gorgeous. And she's got a beautiful backyard that's a haven with a pool and a hot tub.
Selling my house? Please do.
Sorry,
I'm teasing you.
I didn't mean to do that. However,
you know what? In the market we're in, right, is very important to give yourself grace, because nothing is moving right now, or very little is moving.
More and more is starting to.
Okay, thank God. So unless you are one of those beautiful residents that have stayed in their home for 30, 40, 50 years, and you know, bought the home for 20 cents and is now worth 2.5 million, which that's the market in the GTA, that you can afford, you know, you have a lot of flexibility, a lot of spread on your pricing. For younger folks that, you know, you're still moving either up or down, or, you know, whatever, right? During the pandemic, you may have moved to a more, economic setting, working remotely, and now you're being called back to work. And, there's just so many dynamics, right? That you got to be kind to yourself while you wait, not sitting waiting, but you got to calm yourself down while you wait for the right opportunity and the right time to move.
Are you talking in the mirror right now?
To you, Caroline. No, and you know what is
It's true though. It's certainly true in this market here in the GTA. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I have quite a team of people that are holding me calm right now, that they know they get that panic, text or call, and they're able to walk me down from the ledge. And part of it is being grateful, just gratitude, right? And know that your identity and who you are and your worth does not come from things.
Absolutely. And I really like, though, for you that your confidence, your vision of your next chapter, that's what's really pulling you forward. So you're not moving out of fear, you're moving out of what's coming, right? So you're trading the Museum of Carolina in the suburbs for the sanctuary that you're.
If I get one more double windrow out of my driveway. What was it I said to you in February when there was, at one point it was like almost 4 feet. And for anybody, again, in the southern golden, gorgeous world, windrow, which is what the plow blocks your driveway. I get two windrows because I'm special. And it's not snow. It's rock hard ice.
Well, I know, but when you say plow, I don't know if everyone assumes that's a snow plow. Maybe they do. I'm from a farm, so a plow to me is something different.
Oh, it's like the snow plow. There's snow removal, and in some cities in the U.S. and I think even Canada, they have the fancy ones that when they come to the driveway, they lift the blade and they don't pile it up against your property.
That would be
we
nice.
don't have that. We don't have that. So I remember the last snowstorm that came, and friends of mine literally walked me through being snowed in, like it was several days. I remember texting you and telling you, I'm not going out until March. Like, I just don't have it in me to do one more shoveling. And at that point, because my son moved out and I did not have a snow contract. And so needless to say, it was my own doing, it's most of our challenges truly are our own doing. So, whether you're happy staying or going, remember, it's your choice and your own doing. But anyways, so I think you got to have a reason. Moving just for the sake of I'm bored, so I will move. I'm not sure how fulfilling that would be.
No, well, the cost of moving, that almost.
Or I like the attention, because you do get a lot of. To me, it's a cause of anxiety. But
yes.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're lonely at home and all of a sudden you got all these teams, massaging your home and getting it ready to sell and people coming to see, and there's suddenly all this activity in your life, to the lonely, that could seem exciting, right? But
wow. It's funny, as a realtor, I'd think, oh my gosh, what kind of life are you leading where that's excitement? But because it's a lot of work.
People that pretend to be sick in order to get attention. So
true.
Seriously,
yeah. No, that's true. Going back to what you said about the vision you have pulling you forward, that is so important. And I wonder, how do people get to that place where they're willing to look at that? I find it really interesting when, because I think it can be scary for people. I mean, I'm so busy at this time of my life that I'm not giving myself the luxury of where's Renee tomorrow. Not even tomorrow. I kind of have tomorrow figured out, but I don't have 10 years from now figured out.
Thursday's still open.
Thursday's wide open. yeah, it just depends on the way the wind is blowing. But what I have to say, though, the people that feel courageous enough to crack. Now, some people move because they have to. Something's happened in their life where they're moving out of necessity and not by choice. So that's a whole other ball game, and we deal with that all the time.
And we'll have financial people join us to talk about that, like good strategies.
Yeah, and oftentimes it's due to an illness or to an accident, something that's unexpected, and now as a result, people have to move quickly. And in a situation like that, usually it's other people making decisions for you. Your adult kids have swooped in, your power of attorneys have swooped in, and decisions are being made quickly. Stress is usually high. And I find that when decisions are made in haste, oftentimes there's money left on the table. So we never want to move out of necessity. That's why I'm always
or in haste. It's okay. It's okay if it's a smart financial move, but we have a new mentor expert in our PWT Global family, Keith Nichols, and his one message that seems to be his sign off is build a team, right? And I think when it comes to these decisions, yes, speak to your family, right? But sometimes they're human. They're looking out for themselves, right? Like there's some choices. There's so many options, and that's one of the things I learned from you recently. That we often just think condo or home, right? Like those are your choices, or townhouse. But really, there's so many other ways to live in other places, other countries, other methodologies to enjoy life and have the means to have food on the table and a roof on over your head. That sometimes I know a lady that she was really considering that reverse mortgage deal, which is if you have tons of equity, they let you, well, it's a reverse mortgage. Instead, the payments come out of your equity, right? But you can stay in your home for as long as you want to, right? And her kids were like, no. It's like, you are not even like, why are you so invested? Like, these are grown adults, like, almost our age, right? Like, why are you so invested into her not doing these, right? Like, because they were looking after their inheritance, right? Or
we should do a whole show on that. We'll probably get some email, though.
Yeah, we certainly do. I've learned so much in the last little bit in preparing for our event, which I'll begin to land this plane anytime you're ready, for our event coming September the 12th in GTA North. Your whole 9 to 5, just outside the city. And it's all about, living the living well experience, right? And we're having all kinds of experts and demos and shows and activities and fun and laughter to remind you what is possible at 55, right? Yeah. You're just starting the second half of your life. So it's exciting time, and it's at the All Nations Event Center, Centric, so it's near the highway. And we look forward to everyone joining us. And there's going to be online events as well for all of our friends all over the world. And remember to subscribe to our newsletter, subscribe to our channel. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you get to see all the content early because it gets uploaded almost the day it gets recorded. So that is processed. So if you subscribe to that, you'll get notified. But also we do stream onto LinkedIn and Facebook for now, which is really where our audience is directly, but we're trying to build our YouTube channel. So thank you, everyone. Yes, Renee.
I was going to say, join our community. We're so much fun, and we have so much more fun coming up. So
we think we're fabulous.
True. So see you at our Living Your Prime event, Saturday, September 12th. And it's been fun, Carolina. Thank you so much.
Yeah, there's more information coming up, so stay tuned. Thank you, everybody. And until
Bye.
next time.